Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, May 10, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. You want to make sure that you are in a comfortable position, no outside interference, relaxed into your body, as still as a statue, and focusing on your breath rising and falling. If we truly want to evolve, we must explore life outside the usual mental box. Enlightenment isn't reserved for the constantly smiling, love and light crowd. It isn't chained to positive thinking. It can be born from the mess, the shadow, and the storm. Real enlightenment is more effortless than anyone has ever told you. It's truly a side effect of the deepest, most profound surrender you can imagine. It's like the most intimate death process for the ego that emerges when we drop into neutrality and stop striving to be spiritual. The spiritual ego, that quiet inner voice who is doing everything it can to be holy all the time, is often the last veil to fall. And within this vast pool of consciousness, living inside of us and surrounding us, there are three types of thoughts we can choose from: positive, negative, and neutral. The moment we realize what type of thinking we're currently dwelling in, we gain the first golden key to our freedom. Positive thoughts. Positive thoughts will always open your heart. They feel expansive, healing, sensually liberating. These thoughts ignite the vibration of appreciation, peace, joy in your body. They bring a sensation of warmth, confidence, gentleness, and clarity throughout your life. You breathe easier, and your entire being feels more whole. Negative thoughts. Negative thoughts create a gripping sensation in the body. They lighten the breath, tighten the breath. Your belly hardens like it's protecting itself from an attack. Your diaphragm holds on as the ego clutches to fear of what's to come next. More often we allow the mind to entertain fearful thoughts, the more the future will appear to be a never-ending struggle. Negative thinking shows up when we believe this life isn't matching our soul's higher destiny. This perceived misalignment generates tension, inner conflict, and emotional disconnection. And then we move to neutral thoughts. Neutral thoughts arise from mental equanimity. They aren't numb, dry, or lifeless thoughts. They simply do not carry much emotion. Yet they contain a deeper intelligence which feels like a quiet balance of opposites. True neutrality is real peace. When we let our mind dwell here throughout our day, we feel lighter, more free, less attached to the world. And by the time our head hits the pillow, the ego softens its grip on life, realizing that life can be easy and free from drama, which naturally resources you to expand into your higher awareness. Is truth so particular that there is only one gate to heaven? There are no gates. Heaven is inside you. You are not even the gatekeeper, Emmanuel. There's often a grave misunderstanding for seekers on the spiritual path, which says enlightened people must only think loving, pure, positive thoughts. But if that were true, most of us would be disqualified before we even began the journey. Enlightenment is not about editing your mind. It's about witnessing all thoughts from the still, spacious self that was never bound by them to begin with. You do not have to be a spiritual cheerleader to wake up. Positive thoughts can be of help, but so also can the dark, gritty raw ones. Enlightenment is the awareness that exists beyond both. Now, you might walk through the front door of positivity or crawl through the basement of your shadows. Either way, both doors lead to the same center of your being. The real teaching is in discovering the middle path, which you can call the third side of the coin. The edge, the fine edge between positive and negative, where you find space and real peace. From the forever thinking mind, this place of pure bliss and unbounded presence. Whether your mind typically spends a majority of your day dwelling on thoughts that bring you joy or pain, both will teach you how to let go. The ego suffers because it gets attached to needing to have only positive experiences, or it avoids the negative ones. So with the right awareness, both types of thoughts guide the mind into surrender. And when the ego is tossed into the fire of awareness, something deeper awakens. And from that space, a state of real bliss arises. You are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather. Pema, children. Enlightenment is like the vast sky. It may appear limited in blue, as if there's a dome we cannot go beyond. Yet the moment darkness arrives, it opens up infinitely. In that deep stillness, we realize the sky was never confined. It has always been boundless. There are no boundaries to enlightenment. How it may come, when it may arrive in your life, and how quickly it may show up. You could say that the unenlightened mind is like the sky, mistaking its infinite nature for the passing weather, believing the temporary veils are all it is. Awareness begins identifying itself as something separate from the eternal sky. But in truth, our real nature is the vast spiritual, spacious awareness in which all thoughts come and go, positive or negative. They are just formations passing through. We are not our thoughts. We are not even the thinker. We are always the infinite sky behind it all. Come to know this truth intimately, and you will be free from all of your suffering forever. The key to awakening is not clinging to any thought, no matter how holy or horrific. The moment you stop identifying with the me who thinks, who strives, who believes it's broken or enlightened, a profound shift happens. You begin to relax into your infinite nature. You'll know you are enlightening yourself when every belief system you've inherited from your family, society, or spiritual culture begins to dissolve. As long as you think your happiness depends on having only positive, happy experiences in your life, or fixing your shadows from the past, you're still trapped in some type of cloudy veil. Any subtle tension held in your body can become a prison when not brought to the truth that we are infinite beings who will never die. Every belief you cling to will shrink your infinite reality and cut you off from the divine intelligence always available to you. Now, this might sound radical, but try this 10-minute amazing experiment. Pick one topic of your life that you really want to improve or manifest only positive experiences in. Start the clock. Sit down to think only about this topic, and then watch your mind. If one negative thought sneaks in, restart the clock. See how many times you have to restart the clock before you can only maintain positive thoughts about this one topic. Within 10 minutes or maybe a bit longer, you'll come to a deeper realization about yourself, your mind, and how you are manifesting your reality. The mind is intangible. In fact, it does not exist. The surest way to control it is to seek it. Then its activities cease. Sri Ramana Maharishi. The day we realize that our freedom from suffering is the most important thing to focus our time upon, life begins having a whole new dimension. We see how everything gets easier as real inner peace slips in through the cracks. We know that enlightenment has nothing to do with thinking positive thoughts or getting rid of the bad ones. And when you can respect this as your holy compass for the next, let's say, 21 days, your life will never be the same. So, just to be crystal clear, the message is not, don't try to think positive thoughts, as that could turn into another deeper ego manipulation game. Forced positivity often has fear hiding behind it. The deeper path is to face what you're avoiding. Sit with what feels hard. Let the darkness speak. There's liberation in allowing all parts of yourself to exist. Let positivity arise naturally on its own accord. This is what feels most authentic and liberating. Realize the truth that your soul craves total freedom from all suffering, and this sacred freedom is possible when all that is generated by your mind is welcome. And yes, even the sad, depressed, dramatic, messy parts, especially the messy parts. Remember that the light is always behind it all, guiding us into our real nature. It is always here to empower, while the darkness will always be here to humble us and remind us we are human. Both light and dark are sacred. When you stop needing to control your thoughts and start listening to your consciousness, you touch bliss. You begin to hear the divine whispering to you in your everyday life. And when the mind is clear and open, it's easy to hear your soul speaking. It always talks with gentle, soft, kind wisdom that brings only peace. And the only reason we miss these enlightened messages is because we're deeply entangled in our ego's agenda. Whatever its agenda is, becoming rich, loved, or spiritually free, the ego only does this one dance that makes you suffer. It clings, fixates, and then it tries to run the show. This is the foundation of all suffering. And the future does not have to feel like a struggle. Your vibration is your destiny. Imagine that. Your vibration is your destiny. So whatever your frequency is that you're vibrating, mostly on a consistent basis, is your destiny. Now, you might say, well, I'm going to shift this. I want to change it. And so you change it. When ego is lost, limit is lost. You become infinite, kind, and beautiful. Yogi Bhajan. Now, some of us look at our ego in many different ways. Okay? Like an old coat hanger, antenna that's been plugged into new high-definition smart TV and expects to access a faster signal than the 1,000 gigabyte bandwidth of your spiritual connection to God. And your persistent ego just keeps adjusting the wire, thinking it's making progress. But the truth is, the crystal clear digital cable to God has been plugged in the whole time. What's interesting is the very second that you stop adjusting the antenna, unplug the thinking machine, immediately you drop into the direct line of divine intelligence and watch the magic happen. Being aware, you realize the more you let go and trust this universal downloads that you're receiving, you're able to see the divine perfection that's constantly unfolding. You can witness how your soul has waited many lifetimes for this exact moment to occur. There is a realization that your ego is finally ready to stop playing games and remember you are an eternal spiritual being. And through this divine connection to God, the infinity of your soul becomes obvious. You feel it in your heartbeat, and you notice it in your breath. You realize this universe has always been here, ready to play a much bigger game with you. And as your inner alliance, silence, deepens, the connection strengthens, and the bandwidth escalates. Your inner guidance gets clearer and louder. Messages arrive through people, situations, synchronicities. Every moment of life becomes a transmission and conversation with God. In the stillness lies the greatest power. When consciousness becomes perfectly still, the illusion is perfectly understood because it is consciousness that is creating the illusion. Awaken the World film. Try to do this technique when you have a moment alone. Sit down and listen to what is listening. Sit down and listen to what is listening. Place your attention on what is paying attention. And when you talk to someone, do not just hear their words. Feel the message underneath. What is their soul trying to tell your soul? This is real soul-to-soul listening. And when you get still enough, you'll hear the universe speak to you constantly. Whether the message comes through a holy moment or a breakdown in the basement, it's all divine. You can always realize that this universe is on your side. It's conspiring to fulfill the deepest needs of your soul, even the ones you do not know you have. These bodies were born, so we say we were all born to discover heaven on earth. And it begins with mastery over the mind. Whether it takes 2 days or 2,000 days, you are already on the path. So if you've made it this far, it means your soul is ready. You didn't stumble onto this message by accident. There's a powerful divine intelligence within you that's ready to awaken fully, to manifest the life you know is possible. You were born with this ability. It's encoded in your spiritual DNA. All that's needed now is a proven path, the right vibration, and a guide who's walked the terrain before you. Sooner or later, we are going to discover our divinity, our enlightenment, all of it. It'll come flooding in. And we're all on that path, and it's happening. See, when you remember that stillness is the greatest power, it lies in stillness lies the greatest power. That's why in these meditations you're still as a statue. Focus on your breath rising and falling. In silence is where the God resides. Not in ego mind. And we have multiple opportunities to embrace the God that we are. But how many of us, right, are paying attention to that? Right? How many of us are actually paying attention to it? And then you realize that there's no other way. There isn't any other way. We all go down this path to discover who and what we are. That's it. There's not 5,000 paths. There's one path. Now, there might be someone who you view things differently. It's no different than you, any of us here in this country, right? That, which is a real trick. I think everybody would pretty much agree with it. How in the heck were others able to convince us that they are our bosses? How can, isn't that amazing? You're the boss, okay? How could, and okay, so you know that. You know you're the boss. And then as time goes by, you wake up and you go, wait a minute here, what's going on? They're the bosses. Which isn't true. That's wild that that's shifted. That we're the bosses, okay? And we have been for a long time. But then they convince us that they are our bosses. It's so different than you going to work, right? And you go to work and you say, And through a little bit of communication, your boss believes that you're the boss. Is that doable? Yeah, it's already happened. It's happened to the American people. Right? They said, we turn around and say, go find the money. You work for us, go find the money. It's so different. It's when you are convinced that you have a certain belief, right? A certain belief system. And you embrace that belief system. Now, even though the belief system, let's just say, is completely off base, isn't true at all, but yet you embrace it and you believe it. And that's how you function, it's how you operate. So what happens when you discover that it was all an illusion? What do you think happens? And when you discover it's all an illusion, you fall into peace. Now, you see, some of us we go too far off the edge where we're looking around constantly, almost paranoid. So if you look at this and you say, okay, I'm the kingdom of God within me, right? I am an omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant being that doesn't die. And I know who and what I am. Wow, that's powerful. How do you know who and what you are? Well, you know you're not the name. You know you're not anything of this organic, physical, material life. You design on everybody's got this massive white canvas, blank, nothing on it. And we've got our paintbrushes and we've got our different palettes of color, and we apply this. And we create what? We create our life with each stroke of the brush, each dab of colors of paint. We create our life every step of the way. Now, you would believe that this is really powerful to discover this. But see, most of us say maybe a little bit, but not all of it. No, that's all of it. It's absolutely all of it. Every single speck of it. We create it. And it's choosing to become aware. Become aware of what? Well, like I said, we've got positive, neutral, and negative thoughts. You decide, I'm going to stay neutral on this. It's like, hey, Bill, what do you think? I'm going to stay neutral on this one. I don't care to go either way. I'm on the edge of the coin. And there's a lot of us, what pushes you to, state something? Your ego does. Your ego pushes you. And then you say to yourself, I just don't care to do that. I'm just going to sit here and remain neutral. It's like you get in a conversation with somebody about what? We all know this. This has been going on for generations with us. Politics, religion, right? Do you care to discuss any of that? Heck no. It's not worth the expenditure of the energy. And we create our lives. So we create our lives, and we know that we create our lives. So we're no longer unaware. What do you think happens? Well, the coin, right? You look at a coin, it's got heads, tails, and it's got the edge. You know, it seems like where there's like the surface isn't completely smooth. And picture yourself, you've seen tightrope walkers, right? Oh, it's circuses and stuff like that, different acts. And now some of those tightrope will use a long balanced stick as they walk over the tight rope. The rope is very tight, so it has a lot of spring. And so you walk over the tight rope with your feet. Now remember, that rope is like the edge of a coin. It doesn't have a lot of surface to it. And what we're doing is each of us are balancing on that tight rope to get from point A to point B. So we're on one side, and we're looking over to the other side. The only way we're going to get there is to walk on that tight rope. Balance yourself so you don't fall off. And the universe is assisting you. Can you fall off of the middle? You know, the center. Yeah, you fall off, you get back on it. Each time you fall off, you go, I might have it this time. And sure enough, you're balanced enough, you walk right in with no issue. You walk right over that tight rope, over to the other side. And we all have the ability to differentiate between ego influence and heart-mind influence. You see how powerful the heart-mind is. It eventually takes over the ego mind. And then we use the heart-mind and we master the ego mind, and then the ego mind is gone. It's found peace. As soon as it finds peace, it's gone. And well, isn't it an illusion? Yeah, but the illusion disappears. It doesn't exist anymore. Well, don't we need our ego? We've had our ego. We know what our ego is. I bet you that every one of you on this call, or anyone that listens, that we know what our ego is. To a certain extent, we do. We know it's about many things. And it helps us. It's helped us through many lifetimes. But see, this is evolution. This is an evolutionary leap of faith for oneself. And what does that mean? You're leaving by choice. By choice. In a way, you're leaving the ego mind alone, so you end up mastering the ego mind, and the ego mind finds peace, and the ego mind is gone. You continue to move up and forward into higher and higher and higher vibrational frequencies. So you increase your vibrational frequency, you get to the point where what? You step into a higher vibrational frequency of 5-dimension. You've heard me say this several times. You want confirmation that you're a 5th-dimensional being? The body, okay? you have 5 fingers and 5 toes. There's a lot of species that don't have 5 fingers. Some of them have 3 appendages, 3, all right? Some of them don't have any. What about your toes? There are species that have 2 toes. We have 5. Why do we have 5? Why do we have 5 fingers on each hand? We don't really. If you look at configurations, you will eventually of other species. You'll notice that they don't have 5 fingers on each hand or 5 toes. These bodies were designed to go into 5th dimensional existence. And one might ask, well, what happens if we go to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th? We will drop these bodies and we will enter more advanced bodies from the standpoint of handling higher vibrational frequencies. It's like if you take a being that's vibrating at 3rd dimensional frequency, or 2-dimensional, or 1-dimensional, or minus dimensional, and let's just say that you place them, okay, in 5D. What do you think is going to happen? They'll disintegrate. The body will not exist. It is not equipped to handle those higher vibrational frequencies. Just like evil, right? Just like pure evil on this planet. And more of us are going into choosing to go into higher and higher vibrational frequency and harmonics. That affects everything around us in a good way. So pure evil is a bunch of lower vibrational frequency, more dense and heavy and burdening. And it cannot function as the frequencies continue to increase. It becomes more and more vulnerable, and we discover it, and that it eventually fades, and its particles blend into the light, and then we have balance on the planet of yin and yang. We have balance. It's been restored. In the meantime, civilization continues to evolve by choice. See, that's where we're at. We're on that. We're right on the precipice. One might ask, well, will everybody evolve? No, not everybody. Some will, some won't. What about the ones that don't? They'll incarnate into more lives until they do. But the fact that we're talking about this is astronomical. And the fact that you're listening to it is astronomical. It means you're ready. Okay? You haven't dismissed it, and the ego mind has a step and says, oh, that's just all a bunch of garbage. Because you know deep within that it's truth. And you find it in stillness in these guided meditation calls. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling. We must always begin this life in the here and now. This moment is truly inescapable. Every time you try to escape from the now, you suffer and are immediately tossed back into it with the feeling that you had some significant or insignificant experience of a past or future event. You call that fun? I don't think so. Always remember, be here now, because you are. Stop believing in who you think you are, and just take an hour and do nothing, right? Consciously. You got no guilt. The ego mind says, no, you can't do this. You got all these things to do. Take an hour. Do nothing. Relax into your body and be with whatever energy arises during this time. See what all is happening inside you today. Relax and rest. Give yourself permission to do absolutely nothing. And very soon, you will discover something truly amazing. The awesome divine being who you really are. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Sunday, May 11, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on within you or outside of you, open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.